Look, it's already all set up for tomorrow night Passover. So nice on a new campus. So I went back into my office to share with you a thought that's going through my mind as we're about to celebrate tomorrow night the Passover Seder. This year, we gathered together as a family, as a community. We can't forget what the message of Passover is. There's numerous messages, but the main message is freedom. The Jews were slaves in Egypt, and then they were freed, and that's why it's called the holiday of freedom. And this year, we can't forget the weight of this moment in Jewish history, both personal and national. So this week, former hostage Agam Berger shared her story in Wall Street Journal. It's a piece titled, "I Kept My Freedom in Hamas Captivity." And I'm going to quote a little bit. Agam was kidnapped on October 7th during this horrific invasion of the Nahal Oz base. While many of her friends were brutally murdered, she was taken into Gaza, held captive for 482 days, nearly a year and a half. And yet, even in captivity, she remained free in the most essential ways. She wrote that she stayed, I'm quoting, she stayed on the path of faith. Through all those months, through all the darkness, including last year's Passover, she fasted on fast days. She refused non-kosher food. She protected her soul and her identity with quiet defiance. When they tried to convert her, can you believe they tried to convert her? When they forced a hijab over her head, she held on spiritually and emotionally, refusing to be erased. In those harrowing moments, she says, I was being kidnapped, she wrote, I had the freedom to choose what to say. I recited continuously the same verse that Jews on the threshold of death had said for millennium, the Shema Yisrael. She and another hostage, Liri Albag, even marked Passover in a very dark cellar. She says they cleaned their space, made decorations from scrap paper, read from a handwritten Agada. They heard the voices of the loved ones, and they wept. And they ate what Agam called their own bread of affliction. Even she writes that she actually had a siddur with her that she hid in under a piece of cloth from the pants that was ripped. And through it all, she says she found the strength in our history, in figures like Rabbi Akiva, Joseph, and Abraham, whose faith was tested, whose souls were never conquered. Agam was freed in January, but her message is clear. She says 59 hostages are still in Gaza. At least 45 of them are believed to be alive. Now facing a second Passover in captivity, she urges not to let the third one happen. Her story, my dear friends, is extraordinary. But it also reminds us of something deeply personal. Freedom isn't only about physical captivity. And this, I think, is a very important message for Passover. Each one of us, we know exactly, in some way knows what it feels like to be held back by fear, by pain, by regret, by stories we tell ourselves. We each carry burdens, quiet battles, silent imprisonment. And just like Agam, we are called to resist those forces, to protect our inner spark, to declare no one can take away my soul. You see, Pesach gives us that, the Seder night gives us that energy. This is a season of liberation, not just from pharaohs and the armies, but from whatever confines us, from old patterns, from limiting beliefs, from voices that say you can't, or you're not enough, you're not good enough. So as we celebrate together tomorrow night, Saturday night and Sunday night, the Pesach Seder, and we thank God for the freedom and for the life, let us look inwards. What parts of ourselves are still waiting to be redeemed? What old walls are ready to fall? What walls do we put up between us and God? What walls do we put up between us and our family that we could take down? Let us remember October 7th. Let us pray and work for the return of every hostage. Let us carry Agam's courage with us. Proof that even in the deepest darkness, freedom is a choice of the soul. Shabbat Shalom and Happy Pesach.